I'm going to tell you everything you need to know before buying a used Tesla, because it's very different than buying any other car, including other electric cars. So I'm going to give you these few tips coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
If this is your first time here and you would like to know everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, you definitely came to the right place. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. And before we get started, let me remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. Mine, as you can see behind me, has quite a few of them. I'm a fan. They've also given us, this E4 Electric community, a discount code, so you can use it when you shop there, so you can save yourself a few bucks. It's in the description of this video. All right, let's get started. And one of the first things I want to share with you guys when you're buying a used Tesla, and this is absolutely 100% must-have, which is warranty. These cars are really expensive to fix. However, in the early few years of production, they had quite a few issues because some of them were rushed to production. Some of the parts on them have already had second and third version that Tesla came up with, so they're more likely to be faulty. And it's not just only expensive to fix these cars because of a limited amount of parts that are out there that Tesla makes, and even more limited number of body shops that can work on these cars, and delays at the service center. Sometimes fixing this car is really not a matter of money, but also a matter of time. These cars can sit, for a few weeks sometimes waiting for parts. So warranty is extremely important for these cars to have, because it can cost you also a lot of money, obviously. So that's number one. Number two, obviously check for the history of this car. Have some sort of a printout that you can see what this car has been going through. Now, unlike regular cars where you see a long history of stuff being replaced, which is bad, this is actually good for Teslas, because, for example, a lot of these Teslas have the door handles break down because they've gone through now 3 different versions of it, and when the door handle doesn't come out, you can't open the door. It's definitely a problem, and it's pricey to fix. So if that Tesla has a history of having door handles replaced, it's actually a good thing, because it means it has the latest generation of a door handle installed, so it's less likely to break than the car that never had that problem. And the same thing with many other ways. If the motor was replaced, that's not a big deal. That means you're getting a brand new, better version of the motor. Now look for some problems that keep reoccurring over and over again, and that's where obviously it's a red flag. But it's good to know the history of your car, but also evaluate and understand what that means when those parts have been replaced or those problems have arisen. Now, of course, I want to mention that there are some things that you, of course, should do before buying a Tesla that you would normally do before buying any other car. Obviously, make sure the tires are good. Make sure to go to Carfax and make sure it hasn't been in any major accidents. And if it has, understand what happened, what kind of body shops work on that car, was there body damage, and so forth. Another thing you might not know, but insurance is pretty pricey for the reasons I actually mentioned earlier today. So I would get an insurance quote from a few insurance companies, including the ones you already have, so you can understand how much extra you're going to have to pay per month to own this car. And of course, make sure to figure out the charging. This car has to charge on a regular basis, and relying on supercharger and destination chargers is inconvenient, and sometimes it's not close by, and there are lines sometimes at the supercharger. So you definitely want to make sure that you can charge this car at home. All right, let's move forward, and now let's talk about the battery. These cars come with different battery sizes, and of course, the bigger the battery, the longer the range. You need to figure out which range you are comfortable with. The smaller batteries, so like for example, 16 kilowatt hour batteries, in the real world, they can go 150, 160 miles, where the bigger batteries, like a 100 kilowatt battery, that can take you closer to 250 miles, which is almost double of that. You need to decide what you're comfortable with, what your daily routine, and what's your daily distance that you travel and understand that you will have to figure out when and how you're going to charge. Now, you can take these cars on long distance. Of course, we're here at one of the supercharger locations here in Vacaville, California, and it doesn't cost you much, but that's another thing that you need to understand. Let me finish mentioning something about the battery. Make sure that the battery doesn't have as much degradation as more than 10%, and if it does, then that's another thing you're going to have to ask yourself. Is the battery that has 80% capacity from its original capacity, is that good enough for you? Has it been degrading very fast, where maybe it will be at 60 or 70? Also figure out which warranty that battery has. Tesla had different types of warranties for different years and different types of batteries. Usually it's around 8 years, about 100,000 miles, though some have a limited mileage warranty. Make sure you know how much is left on that warranty as well. So if there's something wrong with the battery, you know, at least they will take care of it for free if it continues to be degrading more and more with time. Another thing that I was trying to get to is the supercharging. The models that were produced before, I believe, January 2017 have the free supercharging assigned to the car. So if I sell this car, I'm the original owner, but if I sell this car to the next owner, the free supercharging will be transferred to that owner. However, after that, the supercharging service is now attached to the actual owner. So whenever you sell that car, there is no more free supercharging. And the free supercharging is not always free. In some cases, the owners who bought these cars without the referral code only have about 400 kilowatt hour worth of energy each year for free, and after that they have to pay a relatively small fee, which you also need to go on Tesla's website and check how much does it cost to charge here when you are beyond that free trial period, if you will, every year that Tesla gives you. So make sure you know everything about where you're going to charge, what the range is going to be, what type of the condition your battery is. All of it is going to be important. Another thing is Autopilot. If you're getting a car with an Autopilot, then you need to know that there are different versions. The very first version, 1.0, that was developed by Mobileye, which since then was purchased by Intel, was developed and sold in these cars before fall of 2016. After that, Tesla actually decided to go with their own version, second version of the Autopilot. It has more cameras, it has more sensors, and that set of equipment has the current software that Tesla works on, consistently being updated, consistently getting better and better. Whether the first version, like mine over here, that one will never get better. The software and the hardware is kind of frozen. Whatever you can do now, that's just how it's going to be for years, where the second version will get better and better with time. You also want to figure out, do you even need the Autopilot? For example, in my case, even though I have it, probably my next car will not have the Autopilot features. I personally don't use it. You need to decide that for your own. Another thing you need to understand, this car heavily relies on the internet connection. Tesla uses AT&T service, and in some cars there's a 3G connection like in mine, but in later models there's 4G LTE connection that are obviously much better. You need to figure out if this connection is actually good in your area. You don't want to buy a car and you end up living in the area where the AT&T 3G connection is very spotty. You end up having your maps not always load, or your internet radio always stops and starts and stops and starts. That's very annoying. And many other services that rely on this 3G AT&T connection or LTE AT&T connection. So figure that out before buying your car, because if you're in a bad area, that might just ruin your entire experience of owning this car. If you rely on these few tips that I gave you guys, I think you will make a pretty good decision, or at least educated decision, on what to expect when you get your car, and also it will help you look for the right car for your situation and for your budget. If you have any questions, of course, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Go ahead and put them in the comment section of this video. I hope this helps. I know you will enjoy your next Tesla. Just make sure that it's the right one for you. All right, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.